All right, Jon Comouche here from MYfm, and Olivia Rodrigo is joining us today. First of all, I know how busy you are. Thank you so much for coming in.
Oh my gosh, thanks for making the time. I'm happy to be here.
I think this is so cool to finally meet you because you're from Temecula.
Yeah.
And I'm from Corona.
So close.
So like you're repping the 951 area code.
Oh my god, you have a 951
I do.
number?
My cell phone is still 951.
That's so funny.
Was your cell phone a 951 area code?
Yeah, not now, but it was for a while.
I figured, yeah. And I think that's so cool because so many people are from LA or Orange County, but I don't know anyone repping the IE.
I know. We have so much in common.
I know.
Yes.
Do you
Off to
feel
a good
like
start.
Do you feel like you're repping that you like have some sort of like needing to rep the IE a little bit, or at least Temecula?
Yeah, I mean, I go back there all the time. My parents are down there, and so many of my friends. So, yeah, it's so nice. It's always so nice to go back home, and everyone's so sweet and supportive of me there. So, I'm very grateful.
It is beautiful. My little sister got married there.
Oh, beautiful.
As I'm sure you know, so many weddings happen there, which
Lots
is how you
of
know.
wine country vibes. It's
100%.
Yeah.
Do you think that that's even on the list of places you might get married one day? Like, is Temecula still on there?
Maybe. I totally would. I've actually always. Have you ever watched the movie Father of the Bride?
No.
So she gets married in her parents' backyard, and I always thought that was the most beautiful thing ever. I'm like, I wish I could get married in my parents' backyard.
I love a backyard wedding.
Right?
Yeah.
It's like chill, and it's just it's about the love. It's not about all the party and glitz and glam.
It's like where you feel most at home.
Yeah, it's a great question though.
Do you feel so you're moving to New York right now, right?
I kind of live half and half, but
okay.
I just got a place there. Yeah.
So what is it like to move from LA, being like kind of the West Coast vibes, and then go into the New York era now? What's the difference that you found so far?
It's great. I mean, New York's hustling and bustling always. There's always something fun and exciting to do. It's very spontaneous. I have a lot of friends there, so that's really nice. I love spending time with them out there, and yeah, it's great. Great parks, great food. What more could you ask for?
Do you think there's something to like the slowness of the LA vibe? Like everyone that I hear from New York always says that LA is like more relaxed and more calm, and then you go to New York and everyone's just doing things. Is that how it feels?
Yeah, and you know what I love about LA is I love driving everywhere. I love a 45-minute drive. Like I love going through the drive-thru. I love like putting all the windows down and listening to my music, my podcast. It's like such a great meditative time for me. So that's something I feel like I can never give up.
It's like you time.
Yeah.
Right? I feel like I know exactly what you're talking about.
And I feel like the car is like one of the only places you could be totally alone. Like you could like sit in the car and like scream and no one would like care.
So I like don't cry much, but like the car is the one place that I feel like it's completely okay to cry.
Completely. I've sobbed my eyes out so many times in the car. It's a safe place.
You can like sing the loudest in the car.
Yeah.
It's so cool.
Yeah, you get it.
So let's talk about the music now, because I just saw this morning. This is like kind of breaking news here, that Vampire has gone #1 on the Billboard 100.
I'm so excited about it. I'm so thankful to everyone who's listened and streamed and bought, and I'm just over the moon.
I bet. Like,
yeah.
I get goosebumps, and it's not even my song. You know what I mean? Like, just thinking about it.
Thanks.
What does that feel like for you when you finally see that happen?
I mean, I'm just so overwhelmed with gratitude for everyone that helps me make it happen, and everyone who's shown me so much support over the years. It's just really cool. I'm very, very excited. I'm going to celebrate tonight.
Good.
Yeah.
I can imagine that, a lot of people are scared of the sophomore album, right? Especially when an album has as much success as Sour did. Like, I'm sure there's some expectation there. Do you feel that at all? Do you feel the pressure writing this second album?
Yeah, I mean, totally. I definitely did more so at the beginning of writing the second album, Guts. And I was getting in my head about it a lot when I first kind of sat down and started ideating on what I wanted it to be. But I think kind of halfway through the process, I kind of switched mindsets, and I just started writing for me and trying to make music that I would like to hear and that I would like to listen to. And once that happened, it became a lot easier. But yeah, I would be lying if I said I felt no pressure and, everything was super easy. So.
But is it cool that, when that pressure happens and when Vampire's finally out and you've been doing all this work for the new album and you have so much suspense for it, and then it comes out and then it hits #1 and like you did it again. Like, is there some relief there?
Yeah, I mean, it's just really wonderful that people, care about this song and, still want to listen, and I don't know, it is really great. I think it's a great kickoff to this new era. I'm really excited for everything to come.
So let's go back a little bit, because to us you kind of disappear for a while, but obviously you're living your life between the albums, right?
Sure.
Between Sour and when Guts comes out. So what are you doing between the two albums? Like, before you start to write Guts, like, what are you doing between the two albums?
Touring.
Okay. Yeah.
I did my first tour, which was really awesome and such an incredible learning experience for me. But I think I also needed to take a few months to kind of process everything that had just happened in my life. It was pretty spectacular how just instantly everything kind of blew up, and it all happened so fast, and so I think I needed some time to just to myself to be like, okay, like that happened, like you're okay, this is gonna happen now, like it was just a lot to process, so I needed the time.
Are there things you do, like what are your hobbies that are not music?
Oh my gosh, it's so tough. I was just thinking about that the other day. I love to bake. Baking is very stress relieving for me.
Okay, what is it? Cookies, brownies?
I love like a bread, like a zucchini bread or a banana bread. Or
that's like the real
bread,
stuff.
Or like cupcakes is really fun. I'm like not incredible at it or anything, but it's a big stress reliever for me. My best friend is teaching me how to knit.
Okay.
So that's been fun.
It's a little bit of a grandma vibe.
Yeah, I know. Like baking and knitting.
Yeah.
Very old woman of me. But yeah, just hang out with my friends. I love going to the movies. I'm going to the movies a lot. I'm so excited to see Barbie.
Oh my gosh, I know.
Let's go.
Are you Barbie?
You're repping the pink
low
today.
Key. I think I'd see that before Oppenheimer, which is kind of weird, but I'm in it.
Oh, I can't wait to see both. I feel like I want to see both on the same day. We'll see.
That's the way to do it. For a movie fan,
yeah,
that's the way to do it.
We'll see. I don't know.
So when do you know that it's time to get back into music and to write that second album? Like, when's that moment where you know it's time to continue?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I never... It's hard. It's never like, close this chapter. Okay, now let's start the next one. I kind of always try to write and express myself just because it makes me feel better. It's like going to the gym or something. You always feel better once you do it. But I don't know. I think when I finally started going to the studio and making this record, it kind of felt real when I started producing songs out and was able to like listen to something back.
Oh my gosh, yeah, I bet. Is it exciting to kind of see it come out, like song by song?
Yeah, it's been really exciting, and this week having Vampire out is just, it's just, I don't know, it's really good to feel like, I feel like I've sat with these songs for so long that putting them out now is really cathartic.
So I've kind of heard you talk about this a little bit. Remind me what you think Guts is going to be about in general. If you had to sum it up in a few sentences, what is Guts going to be for us? So
I wrote Guts when I was mostly 19 years old, and I think being 19 and also kind of having, my life was, very, very different than it was when I was, 18 or 17 or 16. So I think it's just a lot about growing up and all of those feelings. I think about making mistakes and learning from them and kind of just growing into the person that I guess I am today.
You kind of just touched on this, but so I'm thinking of you figuring stuff out, right? Being 19 and like deciding what you want this album to be about. When you're writing that, I can imagine when you're touring and doing all this stuff, you're surrounded by a lot of business. You know what I mean? It's like people who are not your same age. What do you do to kind of make sure you're living in that youth a little bit and you're not getting carried away with the crazy lifestyle that's been you for the last couple of years?
I mean, it's really tricky. I think I have a lot of practice because I used to be a child actor, and so I grew up on sets for a very long time where you're like literally like 14, like with a bunch of like 45-year-old guys, and you're like, hey, like traffic was bad today on the 405. You're like trying to like make adult small talk. So I think I had some practice in trying to like maintain my sense of, I guess, youth. It is a very interesting question. I think I have so many friends that are my age, and I just think, I feel like I have a pretty normal life when I'm not doing this. I try to keep it as normal as I can. I think that's what makes me the happiest.
Which is crazy to hear about because I feel like your life, especially since 2020, has been nothing but normal. You know what I mean?
You'd think so, but I don't know. Someone asked me this question the other day. They're like, oh, are you afraid that you're not going to make an album that's like super relatable because, you're not 17 going through your first heartbreak and you have this kind of weird life now? But I feel like so much of the human experience is the same. It's just in a different environment. Like the feelings that I feel are no different than another 20-year-old living in Arkansas, you know what I mean? Like it's just a different place and a different surrounding,
It's so interesting you say that because that is so true. When you came out with Driver's License and then the rest of your album, like me, I'm in my late 20s, and like me and my boys that I live with, like are listening to Good For You and like feel it somehow. Like, why do you think so many different people across different generations can connect so well to your music? Yeah,
I mean, I think if you can boil an emotion down to its very purest form, there's no way that it like can't really be relatable, you know what I mean? Because human emotions are so universal. Everyone kind of feels the same thing at one point or another. So I think that's a trick. If you can do that in a song, I think you're like golden.
Like, when do you know when you have something that you want to write about?
Sometimes, honestly, especially, or I guess both in Sour and in this new album, Guts, I feel like sometimes a song starts out from a place where I don't necessarily feel that inspired all the time. I think sometimes I just have to sit down and force myself to write, and I'm like, oh, okay, like, I don't know, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, oh, wait, that's good. So sometimes you're kind of finding it as you go along. And I think that's why it's important to kind of just show up and write even if you're not always feeling like it.
Are there times when you're writing, when you're wondering how people are going to take it?
Yeah, I mean, and it's a hard mindset to be in, though. I feel like you should try to just write songs just thinking about what you think and how you want it to feel. But, I mean, it's a lot easier said than done. There's so much pressure from all different angles, but I think that's one of the hardest parts about writing a song, is kind of trying to block out the noise.
Yeah, and I feel like that's something that I personally think is one of your best strengths, is your lyric writing.
Thank you.
Like, listening to Vampire and some of these lyrics that come through, and some of them hard-hitting. Bloodsucker, Vein fucker, bleeding me dry like a goddamn vampire. Like, crazy already. Like, that hits really hard. But then you have this other line that I feel like is taken off. It's like, every girl I ever talked to told me that you were bad news. You called them crazy. God, I hate the way I called them crazy, too. Where do you learn how to do lyrics? Because I feel like it's so hard to take these complex emotions and feelings and bring it down to an easy thing that people can understand. Like, where did you learn to do that?
Man, I don't know. I feel like I've just been writing lyrics since I was super young, ever since I could kind of talk and just write in general. I've just always been obsessed with kind of expressing how I feel and creating something, and I guess I've just practiced over the years and maybe gotten better, but I'm happy you like some of the lyrics. That means a lot to me.
Yeah, like, do you think in lyrics? Or do you have to actually sit down and be like, oh, what do I want to say?
Sometimes I'll be having a conversation and I'll say something, or somebody else will say something and be like, whoa, like, that's so good.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it kind of just, inspiration strikes at random times.
I bet.
You know?
I bet. I also wanted to ask you about this because I thought this was the craziest thing. I saw the other day that the cover photo for driver's license, your driver's license expires on 6/30,
Right.
2023. Vampire comes out 6/30, 2023. What? Like, is this, were you intending that from the beginning? Like, walk me through that's it? That's what we get?
Gotta pay attention, I don't know.
That is crazy to me. Like, I saw someone point that out, and I thought it was photoshopped. Like, I had to go back in and be like, dang, she really, like, been planning that this whole time.
It's an important date.
Is that important for you to do in the future as well? Like, do we got to pay attention to every little thing Olivia Rodrigo's doing?
I mean, I think it's fun to do. It's always fun
is.
to kind of have fun with things like that and create, like, a world. It's always a fun task. I love doing, like, visuals and stuff with music and music videos and things like that and covers. It's a really, really fun way to express yourself.
I agree.
Like, beyond music, yeah.
So what can you tell us about Guts for what's to come?
Yeah, I mean, September 8th.
Okay.
It comes out.
Solid.
Yeah, I think it's really fun. I think it's maybe more upbeat than the last record and tongue-in-cheek. I think it's a little funny, which is a fun side of me that I feel like I haven't shown before, maybe. Yeah, I think it's, I don't know. I'm really proud of it, and I hope everyone resonates with it in some way.
I love that. Well, I'm excited to hear it. Thank you so much for sitting down with us.
Thank you for having me.
Olivia Rodrigo, let's do it.